What is good, guys and gals, and welcome to the Films and Pixels podcast, episode 12. I am your host, Afif, and we got some very interesting topics for today. First part, one of the subjects I'll be speaking of on the whole Rachel Zegler-Oscars situation. I'm going to be highlighting recent drawing I did, actually, and I'll mention how I'm not a great artist, but it's just kind of funny. Based on a Batman film, so there's a hint for you. My thoughts and reaction on the inventing Anna controversy, facts of the story, what's true, what's right and wrong, and so forth. YouTube TV streaming with ads, similar to some of the other services. I'll talk about that. Plus, another interesting topic I want to talk about is filmmaker Mohamed Diab criticizing a couple of DC comic book inspired films just before the Moon Knight premiere on Disney Plus. But before I go on, if you have not done so yet, please, again, like I've said before, subscribe to the channel, like and follow the pages. And, I'm actually looking forward to this episode because I think, while I admit I've had a hard time figuring out what to talk about, I do think some of these stories and news articles, I think they're important and relevant, especially in the world of filmmaking. Especially so, I think it's going to be really good and interesting, and just kind of look at it in a critical point of view, so I'm excited for this one, especially. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So again, stay tuned from beginning to end, and yeah, looking forward to what's to come next. Alright, guys and gals, first topic for this episode, a strange controversy regarding Rachel Zegler and the Oscars this year. Now, from beginning to end, what happened is that initially, Rachel Zegler, who starred in the Steven Spielberg film West Side Story, was initially not invited to the Oscars ceremony this year. Apparently, everyone found out when she revealed on Instagram the whole thing. Now, when someone asked her what she's going to be wearing, she said, "I'm not invited, so sweatpants and my boyfriend's flannel." Okay, so when someone asked her what she'll be wearing and all that, and it caused confusion. And also there was a second comment from Rachel Zegler on Instagram when she later said, "I don't know, y'all. I've tried it, but it doesn't seem to be happening. I'll root for West Side Story from my couch and be proud of the work we so tirelessly did 3 years ago. I hope some last-minute miracle occurs and I can celebrate our film in person. But hey, that's how it goes sometimes, I guess. Thanks for all the shock and outrage. I'm disappointed too, but that's okay. So proud of our movie." So yeah, because of the fact that she revealed that, she wasn't initially going, there was a lot of controversy, shock, outrage, anger, all that, so forth. So she was basically saying, in the end, how appreciative she was of the emotional support and all that good stuff. Now, because of the outcry that happened, in reverse course, in an interesting twist, she is going to the ceremony after all, but as a presenter as well. In fact, and she actually might, I don't know if it's true, but she's probably going to be the youngest at 20 years old to be an Oscar presenter. So that's actually a pretty huge deal. And a lot of fans believe that a film like this with Latino representation, should have more of a spotlight, should be recognized more, be more culturally relevant in the Oscar ceremony. So thankfully, the Academy of Motion Pictures and Sciences did a smart job reversing course and having her be part of the ceremony. The film itself did get nominated for multiple categories, such as Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actress for Anna DeBose, Best Cinematography, Best Costume Design, Best Product Design, and Best Sound. So more than likely, the film might win one or more of those categories, but it's a good thing, despite everything that happened, that she will go. And I think it's kind of strange, because if you're simply not invited, I know if you didn't get any invitation, even if you're not nominated for any category, you're not going to be part of the ceremony. But I just thought it was strange for someone who it's really her first motion picture film that she starred in, and because of the success of that movie, she was casted for the role in the Snow White live action remake film coming up for Disney. So this movie was a pretty big deal already for Rachel Zegler, who's just 20 years old, and even if she didn't get like a best actress nomination, it's just a bit strange that she wasn't going for someone who's part of a movie that got best picture. And yes, she did get like a Golden Globe award, but I'm just glad that now, like, the whole controversy is just behind and she's finally going. So it's just a definitely like a smart decision. I think everyone from her castmates, no doubt, are thankful, and especially the same for our fans, supporters, and family getting representative as a young Latina figure in the Oscars. All right, guys and gals. All right. So after just recently getting the chance to watch Inventing Anna, I mean, I gotta say that was really fascinating from beginning to end. Oh my god! Like the amount of money that she, supposedly has, but really doesn't, and took from other people, debts she didn't pay to hotels. I mean, it's just insane. Like, just the fact that she went to jail for all of that, or at least like first, yeah, she was in trial, and then for a short term in jail, got out, and just by the way, news recently broke that she'll be deported back to her home country of Germany, even though just watching from beginning to end, like her story is really like she's actually more of a Russian native going to Germany, but without getting off track on that, like some of the facts that I figured out that are not true, it's just, I mean, it's just because it's TV. Like some things like just had to be kind of falsified. I suppose I'm not really sure how to say all of that properly, but few examples that are not exactly right, for or were more like categorized as wrong. Just what I found from the Miss Mojo video on YouTube, like VIP prison sentence. That was definitely wrong, not true. Like no kind of VIP treatment in prison. As for accent, from Julia Garner, who, by the way, I'll talk about my thoughts on her acting performance. But like, as for the way Julia Garner used the accent, like almost close to the real Anna Sorokin accent in some ways. Slightly different, but at least it kind of works. All right, the involvement of Vivian Kent, the main journalist of the film who worked tirelessly even as she was pregnant for most of the season, to cover this story, find different people involved in the Anna Delvey controversy and the whole situation. Those who knew Anna Delvey, friends with her, worked with her, whatever it may be. So the Vivian Kent character is based on the actual journalist Jessica Pressler, who wrote a story, but not for the Manhattan magazine. I think that's fictional if I'm right. But Jessica Pressler was a producer for the show, so she had an involvement on what's kind of fact or fiction on the Vivian Kent character. So Vivian Kent is based on Jessica Pressler, like I was saying. And for one of the main characters heavily involved in Anna's life, Chase Sikorsky. There was no such thing as Chase Sikorsky at all in real life. He was totally a fictional character. I think just because, like, first, needing more of a having romance for Anna. But his character is sort of based on a TED Talk uh, tech guy going to be a millionaire and all that. So there might have been a rumor that she might have seen some like TED Talk guy with a tech startup. For Chase, he did something called Wake. Nothing about Wake or whatever in the series. I mean, I kind of figured I I haven't heard of anything called Wake at all. So I knew like in some form this was kind of like fictional. But I mean, it's not fully clear any sort of romantic involvement, any kind of boyfriend the real Anna Sorokin had. Although what is true is that she did take a trip to Ibiza on a boat. Whether alone or not is not fully clear. But yeah, everything else from the tricking fortress banks, the fashionista, Peter Henneke, that whole crazification in Morocco, and even literally taking a jet without paying for it. Yeah, that is true. I mean, even the more crazier facts, like when she went on the Morocco vacation with Rachel Williams, she still hasn't paid her back the $62,000 that she used from her American Express card. Rachel Williams is a writer for Vanity Fair. Was a close friend of Anna, but after that whole thing with the Morocco vacation, it's still not giving her back the $62,000, even as she promised her to do, wire it and all that. Like, because a lot of the money that Anna has used is for her lavish lifestyle and her hotels. Like, she's been obsessively claiming, like, to build her Anna Delvey Foundation, and really none of that has happened. Nothing really came to fruition for her. Now, first, I want to talk about Julia Garner. Some people might know her as from Ozark, a Netflix show. Like, she was like really, 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 really good as Anna Delvey, Anna Sorokin. It's crazy, and like the accent was kind of convincing. It's almost a mixture of different cultures, different countries. Like, even the real Anna Sorokin, I actually really liked the accent Julia Garner used. I thought it was really funny. So she approved. Oh, and speaking of the real Anna Sorokin from the TV streaming deal, she got $300,000 on this whole entertainment situation. Yeah, imagine the real Anna Sorokin on the TV deal got $300,000. That's insane to just sign it off and approve. That's crazy. But yeah, Julia Garner really great in the role. Like pouring out so many emotions, convincing. Like, she was really convincing, whether she was sad, crying, angry. It was just amazing to watch. The, I mean, she really matched the clothes. It's just insane. Like, all that. Like, what I don't know what's true is the moment when she went to one of the hotels that her friend Neff was working at as a concierge. I don't know if it's true that for a while her bills went all the way up to $33,000, which again is absurd, and did manage to pay it back. But yeah, I mean, it was said in the TV show, but I'm not sure in real life. Still, Anna Sorokin does not believe at all she did anything wrong. I know she gets kind of annoying with these excuses of how, like, not being able to pay her bills, paying the hotel, or even paying back anyone, but gives like $100 tips and all that. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of annoying how she repeatedly goes like, "My father, he cut me off. I don't have money. My father, he cut me off." Like it's just nothing but fucking excuses, like, for someone who's a fake German heiress. But the whole, like, part of the reason why she pursued this kind of lifestyle is really just because she believes she's more than what she had. She's more than what she's supposedly been given, because her parents, nothing. She had no rich parents. Her parents are not exactly rich people. She doesn't come from a rich family, just poor family, and yet, like, at least in what's been seen on TV, and I don't think that happened in real life. They didn't go travel to America to be with her in the trial. So that's kind of unfortunate, but, like, she just had bigger ambitions that got her in the wrong path. But I mean, like, the series in general, like, it's just really fascinating, honestly. Like, after the first episode, I wasn't sure, but after watching the second episode, it just got more and more fascinating. Like, the numbers, the like the amount of money she spent, could not pay, was just kind of mind blowing. I gotta say that. Go watch it if you haven't seen it, and because, like, finding the actual story on YouTube is also just as fascinating as well. Guys and gals, finally, after much hype and anticipation, I mean, by next week, finally, Moon Knight will be finally streaming. I mean, yes, I've been saying finally a lot, but yeah, I'm just really excited that it's going to be coming soon, and with it, yeah, there's going to be 6 episodes, and most of the season will be directed by Mohamed Diab. I'll be talking about more about him, but I just want to mention regarding episodes 2 and 4, they'll be directed by the duo of Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead. But for those that are not aware, Mohamed Diab, he's an Egyptian filmmaker. He's credited with some of his well-known work. He directed Cairo 678, Clash, Amira, and he'll be directing most of Moon Knight. But he didn't write the show. In fact, he has a lot of writing credit from other films like The Island 1 and 2, Bada al-Fa'id, Alf Mabruk, Dakor, Al-Gazira, Ahlam Hakaika, or Real Dreams, yeah. Wait, sorry, Ahlam Hakaika, yeah. Poor pronunciation, I know, but you get the idea. Like, for cinema lovers, moviegoers in Egypt, I mean, like, they might be familiar with him by now, but he does have a good, well-known, accredited filmmaking work. So when it comes to how Egypt is portrayed throughout American cinema worldwide, he has a lot to say, and it's not, he does take it personally. He's expressed his frustration regarding how Warner Brothers films such as Black Adam and Wonder Woman 1984 have sort of portrayed Egypt, especially in some of the scenes. Now, first off, I'll be reading what he said on Black Adam, on his, his impression on the film, even though it's not out yet, but I'm sure he saw the trailers for it. I was really annoyed with DC when they set Black Adam in a fictional Middle Eastern country as an excuse to cast non-Egyptians, when it was obviously meant to be in Egypt. Representation opportunities shouldn't be wasted, but it's not a full mistake since it's based on an iteration of the comics that doesn't mention Egypt. Yeah, in a way that's mostly true. I mean, the whole Black Adam origins, he's been an established, well-known DC comic book character since 1945, supposedly hailing from ancient Egypt. And, despite his origin, the JSA comics in the 2000s changed his fictional birthplace to a fictional North African nation called Khandak. So not, again, Khandak, not a real city or anything like that. But he still retains, like, his elements of being more of a, with still having Egyptian backstory, including hailing from the Egyptian gods, how he derives his superpowers, So that's why some of the Black Adam characters, it's been confirmed in a teaser trailer that Aldous Hodge will play Hawkman and Sarah Shahi will play Adriana Thomas in the film. So those characters also have ties to Egyptian mythology in the film. But part of the reason why, he's been hailed on, he pitched how he wanted to have a more proper representation of Egypt in the Moon Knight comic book series. So it's going to be tackling Egyptian mythology. This is what he kind of had to say on how his pitch was shaped by his frustrations, how it's been portrayed. In my pitch, there is a big part about Egypt and how inauthentically it has been portrayed throughout Hollywood's history. It's always exotic. We call it Orientalism. It dehumanizes us. We are always naked. We're always sexy. We're always bad. We're always over the top. Yeah, I mean, I understand, especially when you think of other films like Raiders of the Lost Ark or The Mummy, kind of characters from Egypt kind of being antagonists or villains or kind of overly sexual in some ways with the clothing. So the frustration does make sense from his point of view. But he's not done from there. Speaking to SFX magazine, he did call out Wonder Woman 1984 for how the movie was perpetuating Middle Eastern stereotypes, while also discussing how Egypt has often played a different part, how Egypt is played by a different country entirely on screen. You never see Cairo. You always see Jordan shot for Egypt, for Morocco, Cairo, Wait, hold on. Sorry, let me start from the beginning. You never see Cairo. You always see Jordan shot for Cairo, Morocco shot for Cairo, sometimes Spain shot for Cairo. This really angers us. I remember seeing Wonder Woman 1984, and there was a big sequence in Egypt, and it was a disgrace for us. He had a sheikh. That doesn't make any sense to us. Egypt looked like a country from the Middle Ages. It looked like the desert. Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason. Like, of course, he was frustrated. Just what he's referring to is like an action sequence where in the middle of the road and Wonder Woman and I forgot Steve Trevor, yeah, played by Chris Pine, kind of like a chase sequence, something like that. That was pretty cool action scene, but I totally understand his point of view, and just based on like how Egypt was kind of portrayed in that film and how it was looked at, and so forth. So I think people like him from Egypt, you know, better to relate and comment on that more than I do for me to say whether he's right or wrong. And you know, it happens. Like it just gets exaggerated. I mean, this is the kind of Hollywood filmmaking business that's common, especially for a lot of countries. So that kind of frustration makes sense. Like I remember, you know, a film starring John Hamm called Beirut. Not at all filmed in Beirut. Like it was totally filmed somewhere else. In fact, it might have been filmed in Morocco, if I'm correct, or a different country. But a film starring John Hamm called Beirut, it was not filmed in Lebanon at all. So that's part of the reason why he was eager to avoid a similar situation with how Moon Knight would respectfully portray the connection and culture of Egypt, saying this: I wanted to showcase Egyptian talents as much as I could. Every culture should be represented by its people, so I hired actors, an editor, a costume designer, an art director, and a composer who are all Egyptian. And yeah, that's great. I mean, there's nothing wrong with like having more authentic, expert talent who understands the country very well, who understands the culture, the history, you know, much of the mythology, a lot of the Egyptian gods, you know, who ruled, like, for example, King Tut, as an example. There are a lot of names that are not in my head, but I've seen a lot of them on a lot of the history, a lot of amazing facts on BBC Earth. So it's always like good to know a lot of these things. Like that's kind of part of why I've always been interested in like Greek mythology and Norse mythology as well. But yeah, Mohamed Diab also made an effort while directing the show, defeating stereotypes. So even as an MCU Marvel show, he wanted to make an effort to kind of like defeat any sort of stereotypes and kind of have a better portrayal. And he credited Moon Knight for having more accurate comic book roots to its Egyptian mythology as well. So also saying it's part of the show because it's part of the comic book. It's part of how he gets his powers. It's ingrained in it. There is definitely room to play in Moon Knight, but keep it as authentic as possible. In the realm of being fantastical, even in the original comic books, they did a great job of researching and trying to make Egypt authentic. So yeah, I mean, that's great. I mean, I totally understand and support how, you know, a young talented filmmaker like him, you know, the whole point of this whole project was really, and you know, as one of his goals as well, is for Egypt to be better represented. Again, defeating stereotypes. What else as well? I mean, yeah, like instead, like having someone from Egypt showing Egypt as it really is in some way. Yeah, but like in the whole realm of the MCU era, like I think he wants to do his best to make it work, and you know, getting the pitch approved by Kevin Feige, the chances of this show succeeding with Oscar Isaac leading is going to be really good. And I like as well the show will also tackle mental health. That's going to be really important now more than ever for mental health to be talked about, but also to have Egyptian culture as well being very well respected and represented. We are lucky to be alive in an era where we can watch all kinds of streaming shows without feeling the need to collect DVDs or Blu-ray discs and just pay for a subscription streaming service. Anything that you can think of that you can pay for. And the best part, no ads. But on the other side of the spectrum, there are streaming services and they are for free, but there are ads at the same time. 30 seconds, 60 seconds, whatever it may be. And so that list has so far been including like Tubi, Pluto TV, the Roku channel, IMDb TV, Xumo, Plex. I've heard of Plex, by the way, but like I thought it was a paid for service. So I'm a little confused about how Plex can be free or paid for. I don't know how that model works. And even like Vizio and NBC use Peacock as well, but now YouTube TV is going to be joining. I know there's been YouTube TV, but I think some countries kind of support that kind of service. I haven't noticed any kind of YouTube TV where like movies and series can be offered even with ads. Like, there's been, because like the Google giant company YouTube now just announced like 4,000 episodes of different TV shows being offered, like Andromeda, Hell's Kitchen, Scream Queens, Heartland, and like even more, just like as an example. So I don't know, like I haven't noticed any sort of offerings. I think at the moment it's just more for the US as well. But like even like some movies offer like Steven Seagal's Snipers, Special Ops, are just one of them 80s classics like Over the Top, Teen Wolf, RoboCop, Legally Blonde, and Gone in 60 Seconds are just some example. But yeah, even like other shows like The Prisoner as well, and The Great Father Ted, like some selection. So it's just for YouTube TV to expand more on the TV shows side of things alongside offering more of a catalog of movies. But I mean, like, because it's free, ads are going to be used, shown, and that can be really annoying. I get it. Like, you pay, you get no ads. You offer free service, you don't have to pay, but you're going to have to sit through ads. So pick or choose. Like, it may be a win situation, but if you're paying, but if you're not paying, it's sort of a win and a lose, because you get free stuff, but you kind of have to lose time just by sitting through some ads, and it helps pay for the service as well. It's fine, like, for me, like YouTube video in the beginning, there's ads, sometimes in the middle. Although browsers like Opera and Brave have ad blockers. So for me, watching a YouTube video anytime on Brave, there are no ads. Even though that might hurt them financially, but it's sort of a time killer. So pick and choose. I'd say for me, no ads. It's just a waste of time. It forced me to go back and be distracted by my phone. So that's definitely not fun. No matter what kind of catalog, not something that I would want to do. Okay, guys and gals, just for the final topic today, I wanted to do something different and kind of unconventional maybe. Now, long ago as a kid, I've always liked drawing. I used to enjoy drawing color cartoons and all that stuff with crayons and color pencils and markers. So, in celebration of the Batman, yeah, I made this drawing here. Look, it's Batman! Woohoo! Say hi. I'm vengeance. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, like, I know it's not perfect. It's not the best artwork. Look, I get it. I'm fine with the jokes. But, I mean, part of the reason, like, it's not just because of the new movie. Like, once in a while, it's just good for me to just disconnect, get away from the Wi-Fi, not to be glued on the internet, whether it's on tablet, phone, laptop, even just get off the TV like once in a while for a few hours. Like it's just good to just kind of like for me to disconnect, even like just to get off electronics and just even read a book. I don't mind reading a good book once in a while. So I mean it's sort of a good change. Like even in some ways, like in times of stress with everything going around the world, it's just good to just kind of unplug yourself from everything, you know? So I think that was just really important for me. Like it just kind of helps reduce stress, be more calm, you know, have a better mental state, be a little bit more happier as well. It's just, you know, it's a good habit to do. And even though I don't draw all the time every day, it's just a good hobby for me. I'm not good or great at it. I'm not the best artist at all. Like I know relatives in my family that are much better and greater artists and more talented, but it's just good to do once in a while and just, you know, just something like to practice on and use as just a kind of like, you know, form of expression just to get off the internet, I guess, in a way, you know. All right, guys and gals, that wraps it up for the Films and Pixels podcast, episode 12. We have come to a close, but before I end the episode, thank you so much for watching from beginning to end. If you have not seen previous episodes, please check them out. Any kind of engagement is always welcome as long as it's not bullying, so please keep that in mind. Like the channel, like the video, comment in the comment section, helps with the engagement. Follow the social media links, like the pages, all that good stuff. Also be sure to just, it's other than just watching it on YouTube, listen to the show also on the streaming platforms available, and also in the description links are provided as well. Spotify, El-Jamil, Deezer, and more available. So be sure to listen to the episode through those streaming platforms. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching this episode of the Films and Pixels podcast. Until next time.